All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here. We're gonna kind of do a once over from Clash of the Castle. So, in an overall, how did you guys think that the PLE went? Like before we touch on individual matches, like how do you think like the overall like presentation and everything else of Clash of the Castle was?
I liked it, but I was hoping to have a better freaking entranceway than last time. Last time they had a freaking castle one. That was pretty dope. And this one was like, kind of a typical freaking pay-per-view entranceway.
They went
But
middle.
other than that, pay-per-view was good. I give it a B. There was some good ups and downs with some of the matches, but I was happy to see some people win, certain ones. But other than that, I liked it.
Yeah, I think a B is pretty par for the course. Um, I will agree the entranceway wasn't as dramatic as the first clash at the castle, and it wasn't overwhelmingly expensive in the sense of production cost and how it looked. I think it was like, let's get down to business and let's like really have a really great show and not have a lot of pop and circumstance around the look and the feel of it. But it really, the crowd was probably the best part of the entire PLE. So yeah, shout out to Scotland doing their thing. They really made it fun and really made it energetic. So
Yeah, definitely. A B is pretty sufficient, honestly. Like, which with all this QR code stuff lingering, it's like your anticipation for something when it doesn't kind of come. There was rumors of okay, Roman might come for whatever reason, or the lingering like rumors that you hear leading into it, and then when you watch the whole thing in its entirety, you're like, could have had some better spots. Some spots, weren't all that fitting. The time of some of the matches weren't as long. I feel like the first match, definitely for being the first match, I feel like it got hurt at the end. But that's just my take. That's pretty much kind of our pretty overall view of Clash of the Castle. When you have those matches, especially when they kind of do the worldwide, PLEs, you'd expect more wow factor. Um, Definitely, like you said, with the stage could have been better. It seems to be they're kind of running this generic kind of rectangle-ish with an entryway in the middle stage as of recent. Um, I would have expected more from this PLE from last year, but so we'll kind of run down the matches. I know we have a lot to say about some.
just is it just just a just a change of look for or what do you guys think?
As far as like the stage.
Yeah, for the stage and for the entranceway and for the how the entire ring was set up. Was it designed more to have more people in so it couldn't be more dramatic? And
So
yeah,
That's what I think they're doing. Just the way how they are on Raw and SmackDown, they shorten the Titantron, the entranceway, to try to get more fans into the arena. That's probably the reason why they didn't do the whole castle
yeah,
line they did last year,
yeah.
is
Well,
to try to
because
fit more people in there. They did have a big openings. They had Triple H said they had the most people attendance for a show in a long time, they said. I think that's the way he explained it at the press conference.
Yeah, it just didn't look like that much, though. I
No.
don't know. I think
Like I said, these audience in other countries, man, they're more hyped than the United States are. Man,
the attendance at Clash the Castle was only 11,391. That's barely a regular, maybe a bigger than normal, like regular Raw or SmackDown. I feel like 11,000 is not that much if you're going to bring it to a different country. I feel like you could have capitalized because when they're doing these worldwide PLEs, you think you'd want to bring those to another level, right? You think, because you have other brands when they're going somewhere else, they're trying to pack it out. 11,000 is kind of disappointing. Because
depending if that stadium only holds a specific amount, because Scotland itself isn't a very big, place. So, so it just depends, and maybe they undersold. So do we happen to know what stadium that they were in? Because I have a list.
They were in like the O2 arena or something like that.
I was gonna say the arena. By the way, that they showed the video of the arena, didn't look that very big.
Right. So most of the arenas. So the arena that, yeah, some of their arenas hold. The majority of their arenas hold less than 15,000 people. All right. There's only 7 that can hold more than 15,000 people. So if we look at Clash of the Castle,
but do you think it was more of a hot ticket? Like if they're going to do it in a smaller arena, do you think honestly it came down to they want to capitalize from a financial standpoint, putting it in there, and maybe yet only have the 11,000 whatever, that maybe they just, maybe this is all honestly trial and error with this whole, with, the world tour of putting PLEs in different countries as of late. I mean, obviously we are in the Triple H era, so obviously, maybe we'll work our way into something bigger down the road. Who knows? I mean, we have SummerSlam in 2026 being 2 nights. So, I mean, maybe we're working our way into something bigger, and this is just kind of, hey, we know we can sell the stadium out, no problem. Let's just do it.
So that arena, the OVO Hydro Arena, holds roughly 12,300 people seated and 14,500 standing. So like for a concert, and they were at 11,000. So
yeah,
they did
the stage plus pyro packing. So I mean that's pretty much a full house.
Yeah, so they did their job. WWE did their job, Scotland did their job, and surrounding countries did their job. They showed up, they showed out. For them, it was a no-brainer. And just to just to point out your take, and maybe the more that they have these consistent sellouts, it gives them the footing to go all in for a bigger event in either Scotland or England. So I think they're in it for the long haul to do these international shows, but they don't want to come over and spend $15 million on a one-off show thinking that they can sell out an arena, and they don't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So having those smaller arenas and being able to consistently book those shows and then open them up a little bit more, like you were saying. So yeah, if it wasn't for Scotland and the audience in Scotland and the fans there, that would have been a bust. That would have been awful. But everyone showed up, they showed out, and it's a good showing for the WWE from a business side, that they still have that entertainment leader no one's doing it better than the WWE when it comes to putting butts in seats. So yeah, I think it was a good move. I don't think you try to book a 20,000 seat arena in Scotland. I think you try to book, what's available, what's good for your audience, and try to sell it out, and then try to make it the best show possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
I mean, that's the thing is, that makes a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, yeah, let's play the comfortable game where we know we can.
right.
And like you said, and the thing is, and I really do think that they are in it for the long haul as far as the, these international shows, because I mean, look how big the Saudi shows are. Those things are basically like SummerSlam level.
Right. But the whole nation is like, hey, y'all better show up. If you don't, you better have a good reason why. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
If you do show up, bring some earplugs.
Those shows, when you have an entire government like bringing over an entertainment company to put on a show, the people are going to show up because it's an incredible market for them. So with that being said, you can't scoff at 11 plus thousand people, just under 12,000 people in an arena that can fit 14,500 people. You can't be mad at that. And to have the gate that they had, and probably the merchandise that they had, so sells out, and people
honestly probably sold probably.
Yeah. So yeah,
a ton of merchandise.
Yeah, from the business number side, marketing side, and from the fan side of Scotland and England and everyone else that showed up, kudos to them. They proved it once again why they are the market leader in
I was gonna say they definitely outbeat Paris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people.
They said that they basically, with that 11,000 number, they basically surpassed Leon France, but
I mean, did they surpass him by like 500? Did they surpass him by a couple of thousand? I mean,
4.
4.
But,
if it was
4 more people.
Yep, that'd be.
But we beat it. But
win is a win.
We'll get into the match card here. So Cody and AJ in an I Quit match. So honestly, I mean, their rating, like, according, this is all, I usually use CBS Sports for stuff because they're very detailed on stuff. They rated it an A, I would say like a B plus. I mean, we we pretty much had no stock in AJ winning. I really didn't. It was a matter of, okay, let's run it back again. But I just don't know where AJ is fitting when he's kind of on his way out. But again, that could be a work. But I mean, he seemed very sincere when he said, "Hey, I'd rather be this." But where do you think AJ Styles lands as far as like when he leaves? And it's pretty much a matter of when, not a matter of if. But like, where do you think he's going to end up? Because there was sprinkles of like TNA, which I don't think it's going to happen. He said he wanted to finish in WWE. But what do you think his final match is if he basically exits?
To be honest with you, he does. I had a feeling, I knew he wasn't going to win the title because they just announced. I seen it on New Japan Wrestling's Facebook page and their Twitter account. They announced it that he's going to be going to New Japan for a one match, and it's been, I don't remember who it was. It's been about 6 years or I think it was like 6 or 7 years or something. I don't remember how many years it was since he's been over there. He's going back over there to take on, I think, one of their top New Japan wrestlers.
Yeah, it'll be for Noah and not New Japan. But yeah, I did see that same headline. He's going to go over there for a one-off, and they're still building out that Japanese relationship with the guy who started, who left Stardom, who was fired from Stardom. Rosie, I think his name is.
Yep.
So yeah, they're working on that relationship. I think what we see from AJ is more of a ambassador role. Maybe still can perform in the ring, still have these one-off matches. Maybe he does some coaching, behind the scenes stuff. Maybe he moves down to a real part-time schedule, like a John Cena, and do that
He shows
where
up a
his
couple times a year, maybe, and
where
still
he can
he's still
really
getting paid.
where he can really shine, putting in over other younger talent or talent that needs a push or stories that need something interesting, another layer to it. Other than that, let him do what he
You
wants to
think
do.
he'll just stay on the payroll basically, like
I think
John Cena and stuff, where it's like I show up once in a great while, but still
Yeah.
getting paid.
see, I think he might stay with the company and still work behind the scenes. Look, they have what's his name that came from TNA like I don't know how many years ago. Abyss. He works behind the scenes in the WWE. I think he might work behind the scenes too. Because right
Yeah.
now they are working with
Mhm.
TNA. He might work with like who should give them a hint like who we should bring into WWE and have a match with.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like being like a liaison basically. It's
Right.
like
Pretty much.
he has
You know.
connections across so many different promotions, and it's like he's the guy you want to speak on it because one, he loves WWE, but he's also done TNA, New Japan, friggin' all the other stuff. So he's a great go between, as far as companies, which wouldn't be a bad thing because I feel like honestly WWE is gonna start swallowing up some businesses here, and
Oh yeah.
I
Say
mean
AJ has
they're-
good business skills.
they're already basically doing with NXT and TNA right now. They're supposed to be, according to a couple of different videos I've watched, there's basically an NXT star is going to come to TNA to face Jordan Grace at whatever their next PLE is. And I honestly probably think it's going to be like Roxanne Perez going to come to her show, but then Jordan's going to beat her, and then they're going to have a rubber match at some point, some PLE. But I'm all for the crossover because I feel like I've said this before is that wrestling business is wrestling business. Brands honestly are brands, but the more talent, the better.
Right.
So
Totally
we'll go to
agree.
this. We'll go to the second match. So now before this whole Bianca Belair, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark match, right? Did you really think that they would lose? Like, did you think Jade and Bianca would lose?
No. But given
I do.
where they were at and the outcome of the PLE, it made sense. That doesn't mean that we start the Bianca and Jade program now, but it also doesn't mean that their run as a tag team is over.
To be honest, that match could have been a little bit better. It was very, very freaking sloppy.
Oh, dude, it's
You had what's her
it
name?
blows
What's her
my
name?
mind.
Spent more of the time outside the ring than in.
What, Jade?
Yeah.
I don't
Well-
know. I really think Jade's kind of dropping the ball a little bit more than
She
You know what? And that's everyone's expectation. I don't see it that way. I do see every newer talent have these growing pains and do it and have botches and have things like that. It'll be things like that she won't let happen again if it's in her control. I mean, that's the type of professional that I envision of her. But at the same time, yeah, you would want things to go your way, and you would want your moves and your spots to be clean, and you want to leave a positive lasting impression instead of, oops, I slipped off the top rope. Any one of us could have just been like, yeah, man, I'm a little greasy out here tonight, I was wet, and
I'm a little greasy and what?
yeah, You know,
you can take that so wrong ways.
you could, but however, we all know that, you know, it's probably hot in that arena. They douse themselves with water and extra
Lube.
conditioner to make themselves shine up, baby oil or whatever have you, to give themselves that extra cut look and, you know, shining and stuff like that. So with that being said, you know, anything could have led to her. Yeah, anything could have
I blame
happened.
the oil boy.
Yeah, you know. So yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like you don't want to see the
you are
side.
in Scotland. It's not like it's 40
You know.
degrees outside.
Yeah, you know, everybody
Yeah.
on that card wants to have a really great performance, and you know, every event and every night someone is gonna make a mistake. It's guaranteed. You can't
It's just
have
been too
flawless
frequent,
nights.
though. It's been too frequent,
That's
though.
that's everybody. Her timing has never been like pristine. It's never been, you know, the best. You know, like I said before, she is stiff in the ring. Just her movement is just there's no fluidity, and pairing her with Bianca is only going to make her better. Yes, she had a mistake during a match. We all have mistakes. She'll get herself to the performance center. She'll work on her timing. She'll do it up, and it will improve. We
have to give her a
Look-
learning curve.
She
Right.
might go back down to the
yeah.
back down there and test that move out again, try to jump that rope again and keep
Excuse me.
practicing it
Yeah.
to get better at it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I will say this. When Dom makes mistakes, we give him the same shit. You know,
Dom is
Yeah.
a mistake.
yep. So,
Dom is a mistake.
you know, but the only difference is that Jade has a lot more in-ring experience than Dom, but also you have to look at where she came from. You know, even though Mark Henry was one of her mentors, Brian Danielson was also one of her mentors, Dustin Rhodes. It's still a different environment where she came from, and her movesets were not the same. She's learning to do, you know, be more athletic. Unlike with Dom, it's like, you know, he's not athletic. He comes off very awkward, you know.
Well, because
Um,
Jade's moveset was based off of her strength. So,
Right.
like,
And I
you
think you
know,
play those up. I mean, when she wants to explore and do those things, you know, you can practice all day. It only just improves you. It doesn't make you perfect. It just improves you. And botches happen. I mean, botches
so,
happen.
okay,
And
but are we happy? I'm actually quite happy with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn winning, though. Not even
Oh,
just
I
because, because I feel like one of the 3 championships, somebody had to win one.
right.
And I
Yeah.
think the tag one was the easiest one to kind of give up. Obviously, Bailey losing wasn't probably going to happen because Piper Niven was kind of a rushed, let's just throw a Scottish person in here for a Scottish show. So I honestly, like, I'm happy. Honestly, like, I've been watching Alba Fire and Isla Dawn in NXT up till current, and I feel like it's well deserved. I mean, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark have had plenty of opportunities, and I think this gives a little bit of reprieve to Bianca and Jade anyways, given, Jade continuing to hone a different skill set, a different move set. So, much deserved, we'll see how things go moving forward.
Yeah.
But I was
So-
happy to see them win the tag titles. They definitely do deserve it.
I don't know about deserve it. I think better workers in the ring that night were Shayna and Zoe. But given the outcome of the PLE, that title change for Alba Fire needed to happen. Let's just call it what it was.
I'm a big fan of Shayna. I
Yeah.
like her. I liked her
Yeah.
when she was in UFC.
Yeah. So
Yeah, like I said,
yeah.
this was the one they could give. This is the one set of titles they could give up and not really have a big
Right.
scream match about it.
Mhm.
So now we'll move to what feels like this rivalry's been going on for a while, but I mean that kind of happens in WWE with Sammy versus Chad Gable again. So the real allure of this match isn't even the wrestlers themselves. It is Alpha Academy. And it is this continued Chad treats them like garbage and they continue to, look
Take it.
scared. They literally like he's not even intimidating. Honestly, Chad Gable is not an intimidating guy. Once known as Shorty G, like he's not intimidating, and it blows my mind. Like I'm just waiting, and we're all waiting for the Otis to just come out and beat the living crap out of him.
Otis is the one
But-
that he just needs to be. You need to be afraid of because the way he gets angry, man, that dude is a.
dude.
He's a wrecking hall.
The ring ropes aren't even scared of Akira Tozawa. But like, yeah, I just, man, and it's going, and it's just there's so much tension that like, when is the rubber band gonna snap? Because, like I said, this match, this Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, we've ran it back in different scenarios, different match types. I don't see Chad. I didn't see Chad winning. But it's just the outside of the ring of this whole matchup is where so much of the story lies, because Sammy is like, hey, you guys are better than this. You don't deserve this. And Chad continues to basically kind of drop the ball. So you can't dog on your Alpha Academy for dropping the ball when you've been doing it for months. Like it's,
Then-
so.
Then you had Sammy at the end of the match when he was walking up the ramp. He looked at him and said, "This is enough. It's done. Over with."
Yeah, it's
Just the way his what's his name in the ring, Chad, his face he's just glaring down the rampway. He looked like he was his head was just going to explode.
yeah.
How angry he was.
He had so
Yeah.
many
That's
opportunities.
it. That's all on him.
Yeah, so many opportunities to like win it and bring it home, and he would think that
I mean,
his academy would assist him in it, and they're just like, that's not where we're cut from. So yeah,
yeah. So I mean, so now we'll roll through to the Bailey Piper Niven match. Definitely a good match. Nothing to sneeze about. I mean, nothing. I think just a good match, and I think there wasn't. I mean, Chelsea Green and her coming back out in a mask. I mean, that's great TV.
That was funny.
Like that was the comic relief of the whole PLE, was the fact that she came back with a mask on. Like
I was waiting for somebody to say, "Did she go rob fucking Rey Mysterio's bag and go through his bag and take his mask?"
I mean, he's probably got 1,000 masks. So I mean,
Definitely.
take your pick. He's got like a whole bag. He's got like a whole suitcase full of them. But no, I mean, but great showing by Piper Niven, though. I think this match specifically kind of broke her out of that dewdrop visualization. Like, hey, guess what? She can really wrestle. Like, she's, she's been going with Piper Niven for the last probably, 6 months, when they kind of just let her be Piper Niven, not dewdrop and all that crap. Definitely, definitely a future champion. I can see that happening. She showed out and showed up, and nothing but respect. I mean, even after the match, man, you still had the whole freaking arena just, cheering her on, which, to wrestle in your home country, especially in WWE, when we haven't really had this international audience as deep as we have now. So now a lot of these wrestlers, like the stuff in like Puerto Rico when Zelina got to wrestle, like, it's not the outcome, it's just the presentation, you being there. And so I think that's kind of what this was, and all the respect to Piper Niven. So now we will get to the absolute juiciest part of this freaking whole PLE, and that is the Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I will let you guys rant. You say your piece. I will sit back. I will be like Andre the Giant here, and I'll just you guys
I'll let
what you
him
need
go
to say.
first.
I am having the worst coughing fits, so I'm gonna defer to Tim so I can like cough and get my gain my composure. Just one moment.
All right, but I liked the match. It was great. It was awesome. They both brung their A game. But with I'm hoping Damian Priest is okay with that freaking jump he did and got his leg tangled up in the rope and looked like he smacked his head on the side of the ring or the floor. And
he got beat up.
oh yeah, he's definitely probably feeling it today. But I knew CM Punk was going to be there to screw over Drew. I know he was going to, but I was happy. You have to unmute your mic. There you go.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. That's why.
That's why. And I'm like,
but I liked it, and I was glad to see CM Punk come out and screw his ass over. I'm ready for this feud. I'm a hardcore.
We are on opposite sides of this. I absolutely hate the fact that CM Punk is not cleared to do anything in ring, and yet he gets his ass out there. All right, you want to let's the shirt.
Yeah,
sure,
you know what? Let's.
Happen, okay?
I'm
so,
muting.
Come on,
so
I want to breathe that in.
All right, so let's simmer this one up, okay? So it's fine if Drew lost. It's just how he lost. CM Punk, like, is it? I'm irritated. I'm irritated that this thing is that CM Punk coming out also waters down Damian Priest. That's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that we already knew CM Punk was going to get involved. It was already a shoo-in. We already know what's going to happen. I wish it was a lot more minuscule than what was there. I don't like the fact that he comes out there, tap, tap, 2 count, and then just kind of walks away. Like, one, you're not a referee. I don't care if you're wearing the shirt. You're dumb. Get out of my ring. When you come back, you're going to get your ass kicked by Drew, and it's going to be very one-sided. He's going to Claymore him enough times where CM Punk's head's going to spin. Okay? So it is this is the situation when we all know, Drew was already distracted enough with CM Punk going into this match, let alone him being in there. And the fact that he is not really technically cleared is the only reason why Drew didn't Claymore his ass out of that ring. Drew did his job. He didn't beat the living hell out of him. Just wait, because there's real tension. This isn't like kayfabe, like, hey, we have high fives and back, but when we get out there, I'm like, no, there's legit tension. CM Punk has been rustling feathers for 2 decades in whatever brand he's on. So, that being said, I cannot wait. I'm surprised CM Punk's not cleared already. Like, if he's not wearing the brace, he's constantly hired doing this, that, and the other thing. Like, whenever he's cleared, he's going to get cleared out. Drew ain't playing. I'm sorry. He wasn't called the Scottish psychopath for nothing, okay? When Drew's pissed, Drew's pissed. So, CM Punk, you might as well just stay injured because you'll probably legitimately get injured. You're going to get ricocheted, okay?
That's what we're doing with Ricochet?
Right. If anybody watched Braun Breaker beating the holy hell out of Ricochet, right? That's going to be CM Punk. Okay, he's gonna get smashed on a window. He's gonna get his head bounced off a wall, fall on the ground. Like that's the kind of severity that CM Punk has to look forward to.
Yeah,
Maybe wear a helmet.
Yep,
Maybe wear a
I
helmet because you're gonna hit the ground.
100%. I 100% agree, and we talked about this before we started the podcast. Anything less than an absolute one-sided Drew McIntyre win and beatdown of CM Punk, I'm done with those types of stories that the WWE would give you. There are a lot of old tropes that are still being used from the 70s and 80s. And that's how you build this nuclear heat with someone. You know what I'm saying? Is to have them cost either the hometown performer or the baby face this very crucial match for a championship or retribution. I think it's a little played out. I think we could have done something a little bit different. How people are classifying it as the new screw job. How other personalities and other talent in the company are calling for CM Punk to be fired, even though that is like storyline or even being added to the storyline. There are a lot of people, I am guessing, that are under the impression that because of the CM Punk cult around him and his personality, there are certain things that he can get away with without any comeuppance, without any, penance for his actions. This, for one of them, is such an egregious transgression in story that it can't go unchecked. It can't be imbalanced as how the pendulum swings one direction for a character in a storyline and not as far the opposite way. It can't be this way. In the press conferences, there was no retribution. There was no like reprimand for his actions by authority. So it speaks to a bigger story of, why was this allowed in the first place? How do you explain this? And I didn't watch the press conference afterwards or how this will be explained. We'll just have to wait, until Monday Night Raw, June 17th, to find out how this gets explained and how you can legitimize this. If you can't legitimize the Gunther and Randy Orton match with Randy's shoulders not being fully on the mat and Gunther still winning, and then possibly talk of running it back for them, how can you legitimize this? How can this be made right? Because there's no do-overs in live pro wrestling events. There's only you go back the next day and try to fix it.
They always call it the referee's decision is final.
So that means that, to me, that means like anyone that throws on a ref shirt, they have the authority of a match. And we all know that that's not true. We've seen dozens of times, hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, where someone is like pretended to be a ref and cost a match, and or been added as a ref and change the outcome of a match. I think there is enough layers on this that it's going to be really interesting. If this is the kickoff to SummerSlam season, there's going to be a lot of interesting stories and banters of how they can really like weave this into something that people are really going to want to watch. Because right now, I think there's two camps. One, CM Punk can't do any wrong, and I'm not there. And CM Punk needs to be absolutely destroyed by Drew McIntyre. I'm there. And if it doesn't come out in that outcome, then I can't logically follow along with these stories, because my suspension of suspension of disbelief is non-existent right now. I can't, even if I were to be able to, justify and explain, well, he was wearing a ref shirt and the ref was knocked out. Well, we saw another ref. How come they didn't tell that ref to go? First of all, CM Punk was trying to get Jessa McKay, or whatever her name was, the female ref there, to take off her shirt. What kind of creepy stuff is that?
Yeah,
Second of all, he adds himself to a match a second time to interfere with Drew McIntyre. I think, isn't Money in the Bank coming up? Isn't that their next PLE?
Yeah, it's on the 7th of July.
The odds of him winning Money in the Bank to get another title shot are very slim when there are other stories that are starting to bubble up.
Yeah.
CM Punk needs to lose at SummerSlam. And what I believe is going to happen is that CM Punk won't lose at SummerSlam. I'm calling it right now. CM Punk won't lose at SummerSlam. Drew will get cheated out again of a match. And it makes me feel like he was probably better off not re-signing.
I
CM Punk won't be there on Raw because he's already announced that at the press conference. He won't be there on Raw because he has to go and talk to his doctors to find out if he's physically cleared. But SmackDown will be in Chicago. He said if he is cleared, he will be there at SmackDown to announce it.
And that's where it lies, because Wade Barrett is on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
that is where the extreme amount of tension.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we have storyline anger and we have legitimate anger.
And I think blurring those lines, I think blurring those lines can be really good, as long as we have control and focus. One, we know that it is entertainment. Two, we know that we want to have these two polarizing people go head to head. And what I would like to see happen is probably not going to happen, but I would like to see some type of verbal confrontation between Wade Barrett and CM Punk, just to further the storylines, because I want CM Punk to be presented as the worst of the worst, the very selfish of the selfish, and have his actions to be somewhat justified, to play into his cult of personality, because that is what his it factor is, that aura, that vibe that people are attracted to with CM Punk. And then I want that to be built up in such a way that it seems like it's impossible to break, and then have Drew McIntyre break it at SummerSlam. Because I don't see Seth Rollins coming back anytime soon. If he's got a messed up back, he's got a messed up knee, his wife is taking some time off, he wants to be a family man, enjoy the work that he's done. And yeah, I don't see Seth Rollins coming back for SummerSlam. So we won't get the Seth Rollins program with CM Punk, because then I would want to see CM Punk get ragdolled again, but on a different level. Like the ragdolling that I want from Drew McIntyre is a physical ragdolling. Like, you was talking all that stuff, and now I put these hands on you. You got what you deserved. But what I want to see from Seth Rollins versus CM Punk is, you've got this old school jerk going up against this new school jerk. You could hate or love either way. I think that's a really good story for those two. But for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, anything less than Drew McIntyre winning that and putting putting a Brock Lesnar versus John Cena beat down on CM Punk from Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, I would just be over it and just be like, well, at least Drew got a sword out of re-signing.
So okay,
Pretty awesome sword.
So I
Yeah,
was
really
kind of,
awesome.
So I was kind of looking at the the PLEs into the future, and it doesn't look like they have a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, given how
So, yeah.
feuds go in WWE, you have two bomber matches, everybody wins, and they always have the rubber match, right? Do you think, and I honestly would hope that this CM Punk and Drew McIntyre ends up in a rubber match in Hell in a Cell? I don't know when, but do you think that it would be that heightened of a beef that it would end up in a Hell in a Cell match?
No, absolutely not.
No.
What? No.
CM Punk said in his press conference that he doesn't ever want to do a Hell in a Cell match. Doesn't want to do a ladder match. He doesn't want to do any of those.
He's fragile.
So if he's not extreme, how in the hell does this Drew and him thing honestly work? Where does it culminate? Where does it end?
SummerSlam.
If it does
SummerSlam.
end,
I say SummerSlam.
but does a regular match really suit the extreme nature of this confrontation, though?
You can have an I Quit match, Lance Standing match. You can do, CM Punk for given all of his injuries that he's had over the last 3 years, he still can go. He can still work, and he can work a safe match. They're not gonna let him climb a ladder and jump off of it. He's already said he doesn't want to do those types of spots and things like that. Okay, that's fine. And I don't expect him.
He has a limited anything but I'm just really confused in the sense of how you come back, you start all this beef, all this extreme just hatred between these two. I feel like, okay, yeah, maybe an I Quit, maybe a Last Man Standing would be a fitting to not have him completely get destroyed by Drew McIntyre like a Hell in a Cell. So yeah, maybe an I Quit or a Last Man Standing. I feel like that would be acceptable.
He said in the press conference, the reason why he said he didn't want to do those matches, he said he did not want that to be his first match type of style back in WWE. He didn't want to start out as in that.
He had a match at Madison Square Garden with
it was
Dominic, and that technically is his first match. Then he was in then he was at the Royal Rumble. He got injured. All right. So you mean to tell me? So
then why does this beef matter if he's getting hurt?
I think the beef matters because it's fun to watch. Akin to watching and listening to two rappers go at it. Or watching two athletes on opposite teams talk trash about each other and then get to play and settle that. It's fun to watch, but
we don't want to watch talk segments on
I think
I want a Last Man Standing.
I don't want to have a rap battle. I want to have a battle.
You actually do want a rap battle. New Day versus the Usos.
We've done
you
that.
do. Yeah, you do want to rap battle.
I want that.
That's what I'm saying. It's really, really tough for me to put much stock at the fact that CM Punk got hurt out the gate, and he hadn't done nothing since. He signed and did Royal Rumble, and then he's hurt. If he's that weak and that freaking soft, yeah, he's great on the mic. I'll give him that. He
Yeah.
drops pipe bombs for days. We know that
You
he has
know-
the vocal ability, but if he's so damn old,
I
why
don't
the
think
hell is he
it's.
trying to do anything,
I don't.
create beef, and have a match if he's going to get hurt quick?
I don't think it's his age that's the problem. I think it's just timing. I think it has a lot to do the wear and tear on his body. Now I'm not giving CM Punk the character any leeway, but I'm giving CM Punk the human being, the athlete, a little bit of grace, because we all know injuries happen just like botches happen. So with that being said, I want to see a healthy CM Punk perform. I don't want to see anyone ever get hurt. Do I care for CM Punk the character? Not really. Do I care for the human being behind it as a human being? Yeah. So I understand athletes get hurt. I understand that performers get hurt. I understand that it's just the nature of the business. It was his time to get hurt, and I think it was his comeuppance for his behavior from the last couple of years. I don't think it had anything to do with, if I were to say karma, affect, coming back to bite people. He really wanted to be in this match. He really wanted to do well. People wanted to see him excel elsewhere and not be back there in the WWE. And that was karma saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is what you get, because of who you were. And now his character is probably tapping into that vibe and that aura that people have said about him. And that's what he's coming off as. And again, he could take a beat down. He can take a beat down. Drew wouldn't try to maim him like we're implying he does, as what we would want to see happen as a story. We want to see there be a finality to this at SummerSlam. I don't want to see this drug out to Survivor Series. If it is drug out to Survivor Series, I want it to be like in a team aspect where, it's Team Drew versus Team Punk, something along those lines. But one-on-one,
I mean, we're
anything
gonna get a bloodline freaking crap again, but
yeah, anything less than CM Punk getting the hell beat out of him and losing that match, I am 100% against. I don't think it's good closure and a good transition for Drew in his last few pay-per-views to lose, especially lose a world title and then lose a match to the person that has cost him, technically the last two world title attempts. That is an insult to the character of Drew McIntyre. That is an insult to the intelligence of people who want to be a more informed audience about professional wrestling and the entertainment that's around it. So again, just like you said, Seth, I think like a lot of people that booed him instead of like the 3 or 4 people they had around him that he hugged up and schmoozed up about costing Drew McIntyre another match. I think, yeah, it's gotta be Drew McIntyre winning at SummerSlam. And I think the really big setup, if it is not in the next 7 days, it has to come at Money in the Bank. Either
Not
another screw job, another like CM Punk messes with Drew McIntyre in such a way that he can't get the Money in the Bank and someone else does it. I think 3 times with him like costing him should be enough for him to get the beatdown that we're envisioning CM Punk gets. And CM Punk like winning at SummerSlam against Drew McIntyre, no, I there's no way that I would buy that. Just no way, Mm-mm.
So I changed my thing to CM Punk as the cult of injury. But I I was trying to point it like this, and Tim's over here like.
Oh,
But
I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, the fuck?
um,
And then I finally looked over and saw
yeah,
it.
I'm like, so it's just really tough because like we really want the nostalgic CM Punk, right? We want, with the incredible moveset and everything else that he entails. It's just really tough because he seems to have kind of came back to WWE on kind of a more limited CM Punk, right? So he's not in, I don't know, getting hurt that quick. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, and I don't think it's a matter of safety because obviously, was it Drew that hurt him?
They were. I think it was a
That-
Future Shock DDT, and it just probably, it's one of those types of accidents, and that going in as a professional wrestler, it's going to happen. There could have been a long-standing injury that he wasn't aware of. It could have been. There's a number of reasons why CM Punk got hurt in that match, and he had to be out. Just like just like when we saw Seth Rollins do something to his knee when he went to do that curb stomp on Jinder Mahal.
Right.
It's akin to that, but we give Seth a little more grace because he's younger and he'll bounce back from it. And people have a thing with CM Punk. They don't want to see their heroes or anti-heroes hurt. For me, it's like when I knew Sting couldn't do some of those same things I saw him do when I was younger and when he was younger, you feel a certain way for the people that you admire that are doing this work.
It's nostalgia versus reality.
Yeah, and the reality is he took a Future Stock DDT, he landed on his arm wrong, he jacked up his elbow. It's that happens.
I just think Drew, a lot of these wrestlers are very good at protecting other wrestlers.
They are. They are.
And
but
so, like, like you said, it could have been something small. It could have been minuscule. He could have came back, let's say early. Maybe he came back early. Maybe started. Maybe something happened, and he's like, "Oh, it won't be that bad." And that's the nature of wrestling. That's the nature of the beast. A lot of these guys, to say you're 100% is bullshit. Okay, none of them are.
No.
And like you said, maybe it was just something minuscule, something that, and it just took that move to do it. Now, I think that CM Punk will ever be more than a match, couple matches a month? That's about as much as I can expect. Will he talk? Yeah. Will he talk our ear off? Hell yeah. That's the thing is, like, I'm not dogging on the sense of CM Punk overall, right? Because the dude is one of the best on the mics. You can't deny it.
No.
And so, like, it just sucks that, like, if this injury never happened, where would we be, right? Like, and so that's the kicker is like, if he didn't get injured, and obviously this is all pontification. If he didn't get injured, it's all hypothetical. What would be the storyline? And I feel like, honestly, is amazing as WWE storylines and things happen and they change things up. From that perspective, dude, they're knocking it out of the park, okay? Because every week to week, night to night, you don't know how together your wrestlers are. Some of these guys are wrestling 3-4 nights a week, and then they're not squash matches. They're not 10-minute matches. They're putting on 20-minute matches. These guys go night after night, and so I think from looking at the fact that, okay, shit happens. And that's where we're at. We're in the CM Punk shit happens era right now. And so I look forward. I really want to see, once he's 100%, let's see how much of the nostalgic Punk we get back. Right?
You know what? We get the same CM Punk, but in a WWE ring that we got 2 years ago. We get that CM Punk. We get that older, grumpy, jaded CM Punk who gets a little winded. He's older now, and that is
Well, in 45
that's
45 in wrestling years is like 60 in real life.
yeah. I mean, you know, the yeah, I would agree. No matter how much you take care of your body. So with that being said, I don't. I've never been a someone that's been like, oh man, this CM Punk guy, he's really something. I really enjoy listening to him and watch him. I am a not CM Punk fan. And like I've said before, the way that he has carried himself in other places has done that for me. So both CM Punk, the athlete, and the character, I've never been like super into. There's been some times that I have been like when he went up against Brock Lesnar, who I think is who's just a bit overrated because of his size and his athletic acumen. But there have been some other times that I have watched CM Punk and it's like, all right, this is acceptable. I think this is where it's going to go. But I don't want to see CM Punk full time. I don't want to see CM Punk every week.
That's not going to happen. I mean,
and
no.
So give me the occasional CM Punk. Let him ride out his contract for however many years it is, and then let him and John Cena fight and retire each other. Then they go have beers and chicken wings, and they're off to the sunset.
So let's just we'll put a pin in CM Punk because you know what, he gets us talking. Damn it. So you got me, buddy. You got me. So we have Money in the Bank, just over 3 weeks away. So now we've kind of seen the couple snippets of people that want to enter. Obviously, the biggest one being Jey Uso. Now, do you think Jey Uso winning, do you buy it or do you sell it? Because, I think when we can put a title on him finally, the main event Jey Uso shit matters, all right? Because, it's cool to main event Jey Uso, the name and everything else and all the shirts and all the, nothing matters unless you put a title on him. It's great. You can enthuse the crowd. You get everybody, yeet. But, problem is, we've been watching him for the better part of the year when he started doing his own thing, got away from the bloodline, and still using the moniker of main event Jey Uso. If we don't physically get him in the main event for a title and have a title on him, none of this shit matters. It's a great gimmick. You sell t-shirts. It's entertaining. And I know it's sports entertainment, but when are they going to put a title on him? I feel like
so you want
he needs one.
So you want to legitimize his moniker of main event, as opposed to just letting it ride as a gimmick or letting it ride as I'm that vibe. I'm that every time I show up, I am the main event. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I look at it. I look at it, it's like, regardless of if you have a title or not, you are so enjoyable to watch. It is like having the main event. Whether you open the show or you close it out or you somewhere in between, watching Jey Uso is the main event. And that's kind of the vibe at this moment that's what I take it as.
I just want a title on him. Whether it's second, it can be a secondary. I don't care. Just he's great and he's great in there. But I don't want mid card Jey Uso. I want main event. I want him to finally hit that point where it's like, you finally did it, Rocky. Right? I want that moment, whether it's for a little bit of time, or a long time, whatever. Whoever's title he takes, I just want it. And that's me. That's me and probably a lot of people that really we want to see him finally get to the mountain. He's been given sort of opportunities, not really. So
yeah, they've definitely been filler opportunities, I would say. Yeah. So does it matter what title he has? or
I
you
I
just
just want something. I would prefer obviously a champion, like a undisputed or world championship, whatever. That'd be my the top of the list. But they really haven't even given. He's had tag titles, and that's it. He's had
so
no IC, no US, no nothing. Just he's been known for a tag for so long. Even when he came independently to, I think it was SmackDown or Raw at the time, and he
mhm,
came over and when he won the tag titles with Cody, right? You're still
right.
putting him as a tag. You're still like he's good enough. Like you said, main event. Like he has the talent, he has the caliber to give you that main event feel, like you said. So
Right.
where do we put when do we put that to a title? When do we if he wins Money in the Bank? Like you got a year you can sit on that thing. So it could be anybody, right? So I mean,
It could be. However,
what about hypothetical Roman comes back, he wins
so
back the
are we
title,
gonna
we'll say.
fantasy? Do we want to
We're
fantasy
gonna
book
fantasy,
him now?
let's fantasy book. Let's go down the rabbit hole that we love going down.
Right.
So let's
Okay.
let's say Roman comes back and he beats him, right? He beats freaking Cody Rhodes, takes back his title, right? What if Jay wins Money in the Bank, and in that same time that he wins it, cashes it on Roman? And that's fantasy booking. Be it who do you
I
think
don't.
would be good?
That
for
is too for me. That currently that's too far out. So my fantasy booking for Jay is either Intercontinental or US. Um, those two titles are believable. Those two titles make more sense, and I think
secondary?
I think a program with Logan Paul makes sense in the sense that it's more obtainable for him to get that Money in the Bank. He doesn't need to win it in order to get that.
Oh yeah. Well,
However,
that's what I'm saying. Like the briefcase would get him pinnacle, not
right.
not mid card.
So, but let's play, on yours. Let's say that he does win Money in the Bank and he does start to go after like a Cody's championship or the world heavyweight championship. All right. But he fails. And he fails. And then Roman comes back and says, I need you. This isn't your journey. I need you. You've done this whole like main event on your own thing, but family needs you. We've got to take care of family stuff. And then he is put in a position to choose a solo career without family or handling family stuff. Reconciles with his brother, reconciles with Roman, and he goes to handle family stuff. He can still call himself main event because of what I said previously. He has that vibe, he has that charisma, he has the talent, and when he shows up, it feels like it's main event vibes that you're getting, main event energy. Not necessarily he is a main event primetime singles competitor.
Right.
And that's what the lesson he learns, is that it's like maybe maybe the world championship currently is not within my grasp, but I've got to take care of family.
But if they put a singles title on him, like say the Intercontinental, because how he's on Raw, they could see how good he is running as a singles champion first before they decide to push that big title put on him. If he can handle the time and the effort holding a singles title for say 3 or 4 months or whatever, and has some banger matches defending it and all that.
Here's ideally what I would see. Ideally, what I would see is he gets it from Logan Paul. Braun Breaker wins Money in the Bank. Braun Breaker goes up against Jay, takes it from Jay. Jay reconciles with Roman and Jimmy, and they take care of family business, which is this other bloodline-ish. So I see right now, I don't ever see Jey Uso being a world heavyweight champion and carrying one of those championships, unless he is in a match and a freak injury happens, and that's the story. They've got to put it on someone, and that's the story that they tell. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's the equivalent of when an actor gets pigeonholed for a specific character and they can never get away from that character. I think that's how people envision Jey and Jimmy Uso.
I mean, what about the reverse though? Like, what if we Finn Balor scenario him, and he wins it clean, wins it, but gets hurt in the match and has to relinquish it, because then he has it on his resume. But they didn't have to have him hold it for a long time, because I mean that's because essentially Finn was the first ever Universal Champion.
Facts.
Pretty much.
And so, it's so I mean, there's lots of segues to giving him having like, hey, he's a former world champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he gets injured. Let's say he gets written off for, we'll call it 3 months, maybe a shoulder injury or something, right? And then then he comes back and he kind of comes for blood, right? But I really think him reconciling with the bloodline, the OG bloodline, them going face would be weird. But I think given what's the current Bloodline 2.0 is, I feel like, whenever Jimmy comes back, that's, who knows, honestly. I mean, Roman, he could, Roman's starting to get that buzz now where, like, the Bloodline 2.0 comes out and they're like, nah, we want Roman, dude, sorry. Which I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm not really buying into too much of the Bloodline 2.0. It's just like, Solo, even though, like, he's starting to talk, which, all right, congratulations. Like, it's just like a Judgment Day knockoff.
Pretty much.
Like, one guy, I mean, the Bloodline was the Bloodline. The Bloodline was brutal. The Bloodline was everything. And then you had Judgment Day start up, winning all that, and then Roman leaves, and then now we're left with this remnants of basically one person from the Bloodline, basically bringing in two good guys that really, those two don't need the Bloodline. The Bloodline needs them.
They don't.
So this is the situation, is the fact that Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they don't need the Bloodline. They could be a dominant ass tag team by themselves. Solo is honestly, without having people with Solo, he doesn't have that factor, that woo factor. So it's kind of like he needs the Bloodline doesn't need him.
Yeah.
Because I would say in 6 months that Tonga Loa, they win tag team gold. I would buy into that. It's just, I think when you start putting them in a faction like the Bloodline, you give them certain parameters to work within. Yes, they break the rules a little bit, blah, blah. But, like, I feel like the true dominance would be them if they were by themselves. Because I see Tonga Loa, I see them like the Usos. The Usos were a fantastic tag team, longest reigning ever tag teams. Like, I feel like if anybody was going to break that record, Tama Tonga. I would buy that. I would buy into that.
They were a hell of a team in New Japan, and they can definitely be a hell of a team to watch out for in WWE.
Just don't need them being lackeys for Solo Sikoa.
I think the whole Bloodline, before we get back to Jey being a champion, I think the whole Bloodline storyline, we're waiting for Roman to finish filming his movie and stuff like that so he can come back and tie up this whole Bloodline thing. We're going to get a new Bloodline. We just are. We're just gonna, the Roman Reigns era Bloodline has probably ran its course, and we'll probably have some more resets. Yes, Soa does not have an it factor at all.
Do you think if
But
Roman comes back to be very shieldish?
I think it could be without Seth Rollins. But at the same time, I unless I have a hard time picturing what they could do for him without him being there in the ring every week. But who knows? I don't know who's writing, the direction for these characters. But right now, the Bloodline is even less interesting to me. It really is. It's even less interesting. I'm more interested in potentially what could we do with a Jey Uso championship run. Could we make a Jey Uso who becomes kind of full of himself and a little too cocky, and then he has to be reminded of how he got there and the circumstances that led him to where he's at now? Or do we get a Jey Uso who's humble and grateful, but still has that, that undeniable, crowd connection, and we play on that? Do we want a Jey Uso who's a face, or do we want a Jey Uso who's not so much a face? You know what I'm saying? Where does Braun Breaker, fit into this? Because from what I've read is that Braun Breaker is very highly looked up. He's being looked at very highly, and they want to do some things with him a lot sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and I think, we'll put a proverbial pin, because honestly, I mean, if you don't watch it regularly and you only watch highlights or something like that, honestly, there's a lot of moving parts given the fact that we have social media, right?
Right.
So there's so many things circling in WWE, and I would love to sit there and dive into every one of the pools of stories, but I don't want to do a 3-hour podcast. Okay, this isn't Lord of the Rings. Okay, we're not going to do it for 4 hours. So I think next week, now that we've kind of gotten Clash the Castle in the background, we can kind of move forward with current things, kind of a 3-week window into moving into Money in the Bank, and we'll kind of dive into those theories and those rumors, and so, and we'll continue to pontificate, guess, go down the rabbit hole as we do, rant. We always have those. So
Definitely you.
don't got the shirt for nothing. I'm not even gonna wear the shirt. I'm just putting it back there.
Well, that's fine. You should just get a big poster in the back.
Get my own shirt line. But yes,
Just get your face. Just get your face on it.
Right.
Just like
But so we'll get to everything next week. We'll fill you up with more rumors and thoughts. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.